At this point in the course, I'm sure you realize that one of the most important aspects to our approach to working with people, helping them to move better, reduce fall risk, and just improve quality of life would be to wake up the nervous system, wake up the brain. And we've demonstrated that this is very effective. So another way of doing this is through vibration therapy. In the resources section, you will see a publication from my friend Dr. Alfonso Fasano, who did a vibration study a little while back. And of course, the results are that movement was improved. But there are a lot of reasons we can, let's say, implement a vibration, okay? There are different tools available as well. So let's take a look. So obviously we want to wake up the nervous system and the brain. That's always a given. We already talked about the plantar skin. In a minute, I will demonstrate on a video using a particular tool a couple of things relative to the palm skin and the hands, okay? Especially the clenched hand that we may find in certain people with movement disorders. Constipation, I'll demonstrate how we would use a vibration for that. Myofascial release, reducing tremors, reducing or diminishing certain types of dystonia. Restless leg syndrome is another one. So I'll demo those soon. My favorite tool, which acts as a multi-purpose type of tool for vibration therapy, is called the Hypersphere. It's a vibrating ball made by a company named Hyperice. And so in the video, in a couple slides from now, I will demonstrate various uses, as I discussed in the previous slide, for this ball. It's an amazing device, and let's move forward. There are many vibration devices out there, so I'm just showing you two of them that I really like a lot. We just talked about the Hypersphere. Another one is called the Power Plate. You can get this in various models. You can get it with the handles or just the platform to stand on. Basically, this is engineered to activate the body's natural reflexive response to vibrations. The Power Plate, it moves about 25 to 50 times per second to engage muscles in a consistent and controlled manner. Another thing that's really interesting too is if you take a Naboso mat, put it across the top of the platform and stand on the mat, then you get additional, as we talked about all the Naboso stuff earlier in the program, you can get a double benefit from this because now you can stand on the Power Plate barefoot on the Naboso mat, especially if you use the Naboso Neuro mat, which is a more pointy surface, and get the benefits of the stimulation from the Naboso textured surface plus the vibration therapy. So that's a real game changer. So let's move into some demonstrations on how we would use vibration in a number of ways to help people. Okay, friends, so let's talk more about vibration and how it can help us in so many different ways. All right, I have this checklist here. This is for me, so I don't forget to tell you some things. All right, so I mentioned this tool in a previous slide. Okay, it's the Hypersphere made by Hyperice. Basically, what we do is we just press the button in the middle, wait for the lights to go on, and then, boom, it's on. Okay, now it's not vibrating yet, but there are 3 speeds. So we have low, medium, and high. Pretty intense, right? What can we do with this? All right. Well, there's something that I was thinking of that I think is forgot that I had done this a while ago, but basically, we took a Power Plate, which I don't have one here to show you, but a Power Plate, that's the platform you saw on the previous slide that you stand on it, preferably barefoot. Put a Naboso Neuro mat on the platform of the plate, stand on that barefoot while the plate is shaking, vibrating, and then hold this in your hands. Okay? You can also, if you have the Power Plate with the handles, they'll send a vibration as well. If you don't, you can use one of these. You get maximum stimulation of plantar skin, right? And palm skin, plus the full body vibration caused by the Power Plate. So it's an amazing combination. let's talk more about what this can do. So, constipation is very common in society in general, and in people with Parkinson's, it's definitely very common. As a matter of fact, people who are constipated for 10 years or more, research shows that they're more likely, much more likely to get some type of neurological disorder, whether it be Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, or something else. So constipation is something we do not want to have, whether, no matter who we are. Okay, but in Parkinson's, we know that it's very prevalent. So some of it's side effects of medications, but for some people, it's a lifelong history of having constipation, or at least during their adult life, let's say. Could go back many years, let's put it that way. So I have a story to tell you. This is actually pretty interesting. So about a year ago, I just remember it was a Tuesday. I went to see a young lady who's a client of mine. She's confined to a wheelchair. She has Charcot-Marie tooth disease, which is a very debilitating disease. It's horrible. So her mom was there, and her mom said, well, she hasn't had a bowel movement in 20 days. Now, I had to get on a plane and fly to England that night to teach. So what I did is I left her with this. I said, let's take this. Okay, I showed her how to use it. I want you to use this to try to break up some of what's in there, okay? And see if she has a bowel movement. And if she doesn't have one tomorrow, that'd be 3 weeks, 21 days. You've got to get to a doctor, because it can be deadly, as a matter of fact. And there are all kinds of bad things that can happen from constipation, especially severe constipation. So I showed her how we do it. Basically, we'll put it by the descending colon first, on whatever speed you can tolerate, low or maybe medium. Hopefully you can see that. All right. I am my own camera person, so there's nobody here to adjust it. But I'm on my tiptoes, so hopefully you can see it. I'll move back a little bit. And then up. Okay, so here we are. We hold it right here for as long as you can stand it. Let's say, I'd say 3, 4, 5 minutes here on the descending colon, because it's closer to the exit. So we can break up some of this and then go over to under the liver, or right over the liver, put it on the ascending colon, okay, and then start to break up some of that. Okay, now, she did this about 5 times for 3, 4 minutes each side, so she probably got a good 45 minutes at least of vibration throughout the day after I left. And guess what happened? I got off the plane the next morning at Heathrow in London, and the first text I saw is, she had the mother load. Now, it sounds TMI. Some people don't like it when I say that, but that's exactly what the text said, and I was relieved to get that. Okay, so she had a huge bowel movement, but that's so good that she did. Okay, we've had people hold her for 3 minutes here, 3 minutes here, and boom, 15 minutes later they gotta go. So it's very good for constipation. By the way, there's no guarantee anything's ever going to work all the time for everybody. It's just that, generally speaking, this has worked very well. Myofascial release, that's MFR. I'm not going to talk about that in detail here. That's something that I offer on my membership website, which if you bought this course, then you have a free membership to that site. So go to that site, look for myofascial release, and you'll see the use of this there. But that's basically to reduce some of that tension in the tight muscles, tendons, mostly muscles, right? Get some of those knots out. And there's also a study recently, about 2 years ago, came out, showed that use of vibration during myofascial release is up to 40% more effective in getting those muscles kind of relaxed and more elongated than a traditional non-vibrating device called dystonia. So I just seem to remember it was like 1:30 in the afternoon that day, the second day of the workshop. It was a Sunday. The stomach started to spasm like this, and he said that about 2-3 weeks earlier he had been diagnosed with abdominal dystonia. His neurologist diagnosed him. So we took this. He put it on medium, and he just held it here. And you can hear my voice shaking just a little bit. He held it here on the center of the area that tends to spasm After 10 minutes of that, gone. And it didn't come back during that day. So, I mean, by 2 o'clock, it's gone. Before 2 o'clock. He left around 5:30 that day, and it had not come back at that point. And then he bought one of these, and he uses that often. Another thing, too, is we know that, remember when you start to act out your dreams, that could be one of the earliest signs of some type of movement disorder, neurological issue, Parkinson's being one of them, restless leg syndrome being one of the things that some people get or have. Well, Parkinson's or not, if you have restless legs at night and you're kicking around, and if you have somebody with you in bed, and they could actually maybe even get hurt or bruised or something because they got kicked by you. So put this on and actually just go over the legs. I mean, I don't have the camera right here, but you just go over the legs, 5-10 minutes each leg, just before you go to sleep. What we're finding is that this has helped to significantly reduce the movement of the legs at night, the involuntary movement of the legs. Okay, so last but not least, we know that we can stimulate the palm skin. We talked about that, but also on this hands and fingers thing, what I want to do is talk about what we see many times, especially a more advanced stage neurological disorder. We'll oftentimes see like the clenched hands, or maybe, I've even seen it where they're clenched so hard that the nails go into the skin and they cut the skin and there's like scabs or blood. That's another thing that they may get Botox for if they're really advanced. So as trainers, physical therapists, you can, as long as it's within your scope of practice, you have to know your local laws, your state and all that stuff. But what we can do with this is to manually, gradually, hopefully without any pain. Because if they have pain, we don't want to be messing with it. But if we can manually get the fingers out, like a manual stretch, get this, okay? And this is another thing we have videos on here on the site. So you'll see a demonstration of this on an actual client of mine. Then get this so that eventually the whole palm is up against it, right? The whole palm. So you're going to go from this to gradually, it's going to take some time a lot of times. And of course, same thing on the other side. A lot of times one side is much more clenched than the other. Seldom have I ever seen equally clenched sides. And the client that you'll see the video of, which we'll actually put that right after this at some point, real close so you can see it. One hand just comes out easy. Her right hand is easy to get out. Left hand is very tight and clenched. All right. So, anyways, that's that. While I'm talking about that, though, there's a couple things that are like preventative things here. This will go in the, another section as well. But you can practice your extensors just by doing this, okay? That means these muscles are firing up, okay? And then you can stretch these. So you're going to go like this voluntarily. That's your extensors firing up. But when you go like this, your extensors are doing nothing. It's your flexors that you are stretching. So stretch, or use the ball on it if that's necessary. Then practice this, a finger at a time, right? Maybe put it on a surface and do it. Just lay the hands on their thighs and do it, all right? Do the whole, get those extensors going, get these things relaxed to help reduce some of that tension in the hands. And that's it for vibration therapy right now.